totally forgot. I totally forgot. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all here to this regularly scheduled meeting of the Planning Commission for Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024. I'd like to open the meeting at 7:30. May we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, roll call, please.
Mr. Carpenter?
Here.
Mr. Fitzer?
Here.
Mr. Kucera?
Here.
Mr. Nushai?
Here.
Ms. Redmond?
Here.
Mr. Scott? Mr. Solomon?
Here.
Mr. Tinlin?
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item number 4 is approval of tonight's agenda. Does anyone have any problems with tonight's agenda as it stands?
No.
Seeing none, I will approve it as is, and we'll move on to number 5, which is approval of the regular meeting minutes from September 24th, 2024.
I will make a motion to approve our meeting minutes from September
24.
Okay, September 24th, 2024.
Support.
Motion, support. Anybody have any changes, corrections? Seeing none, can I have roll call on that, please?
Mr. Fitzer?
Yes.
Mr. Kucera?
Yes.
Mr. Nushai?
Yes.
Ms. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Solomon?
Yes.
Mr. Tinlin?
Yes.
And Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next agenda item is approval of the regular meeting minutes from October 8th, 2024. That'd be our last meeting.
I will make a motion to approve our minutes from October 8th, 2024.
Support.
Motion, support. Any changes? Anybody happy with it? May I have roll call on that, please?
Mr. Kucera?
Yes.
Mr. Nushai?
Yes.
Ms. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Solomon?
Yes.
Mr. Tinlin?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzer?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item number 7 is public discussion. If anyone from the public wishes to come up and opine on anything, we're going to be going over the site plan amendment application for 220 South Main, and we're also going to go through special land use for 1400 Normandy. So those are what we're going to be talking about. If you prefer, it might be easier just to listen to how that conversation goes first before asking any questions. But you're more than welcome to enter right now. If anyone from the public wishes to opine on anything, seeing none, I will then close public discussion, and we'll move on to agenda item number 8, which is a site plan amendment application for 220 South Main Street. Mr. Tangieri, you want to start us out on it?
He's actually going to introduce
Oh,
this one.
okay.
All right, good evening, everyone. So this is the next meeting after the Planning Commission contingently approved site plan amendment with the following items. I'm just going to go through those for everyone's awareness. So the site plan amendment for 220 South Main be approved contingent on the hours of the use of the smoker will be expanded starting at 8 a.m. on Wednesday until 9 a.m. on Thursday, and Sundays 8 a.m. until 9 a.m. Monday. A special use day that can be used at the discretion of the owner starting at 8 a.m. that day until 9 a.m. the following day. A conditional review will be conducted regarding the level of smoke being produced within 30 days at the next meeting that applies, which will be October 22nd, 2024. The smaller grill is removed from the site. The propane-powered startup is used for the grill, and the grill shall be permitted to be used at the front of the property as presented by the applicant with maintenance of the fencing and signage. Up until the end of last week, we didn't hear anything from any neighbors about smoke being a major nuisance. At the end of last week, I've reached out to a couple of the neighbors, and I know the Planning Commission received a few emails over the weekend from residents in the area providing some feedback. some of the concern seems to be, the longevity of if it'll be followed, which I believe after the last 30 days that everything's been going over well. And then it was noted that the smaller smoker is still on site. I met with Collier today, I stopped by there. He's had some things going on outside of work, and I know he said he plans on getting that removed. Was just looking forward to coming back today. So unless there's any questions, I don't know if you would like to hear from the applicant at all. And that's all I got.
And the smaller grill hasn't been removed from the site, but it hasn't been used at all, right? Correct?
I believe that'd be the case. I have not seen it being used.
Okay, that'd be the only thing I'm really interested in.
Well, and I guess and it was in the minutes, but I don't remember it coming back for 30 days. But that was part of the motion for.
Yep, it was the motion that was
Okay,
made.
because I feel like that's soon, but that's my only
That's
question.
To come back to that. What is the conditional review that was conducted that we asked for?
I think it was just to see if there are going to be any complaints when the smoker was being used at that front location with the propane startup.
Okay, it had nothing to do with gauging the smoke areas or anything like that?
No, I think we've patched it out. That would be nearly impossible to accurately do that.
Right, okay.
So my concern is I guess I'm not ready to wholesale give free rein. I was under the impression that we were not going to necessarily review in 30 days. I realize family things happen, but it's one of those little things that wasn't being followed, and that seems consistent with this site and the use. They've continued to not comply with certain things that we've asked, so I'm definitely.
Can I ask a question for Nick, if you don't
Yeah.
mind?
Sure.
The purpose of tonight, would it be to make the final amendment? And if so, because I apologize, I had missed basically every other meeting about this, but I listened to them all and was trying to stay in the loop as much as possible. My understanding was we came to a compromise last time, and we were going to wait 30 days, see if there's any additional complaints. I haven't seen anything substantial yet, but if we made a motion, would it be based on the conditions you just mentioned, or what Aaron's referring to now is 24/7 use, which I didn't think was back on the table?
Well, I think that's what the previous motion was made for, was to see how this operated for a short period of time, to come back to the body and see if that is a substantial amount of use for that smoker
Okay.
on a week-to-week basis. I believe the applicant, I'll let him speak on that.
Okay. Yeah,
Obviously-
we could do that today to see if the
Yeah.
loading day helps, or if
Yes.
there still needs to be a review of 24/7 use, which I know was, a point of contention. But, I just want to make sure we're clear on the point of what we're trying to accomplish today, not to derail what you were saying, Ms. Brennan.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. I'm glad you clarified that. That's what I was assuming was what's the intention of the applicant tonight, was to seek full use whenever. I'm not comfortable with that without addressing the possible need for ventilation. As I said last time, we don't have an ordinance that regulates. Every other restaurant has a vent going out a roof, much above the, roof line of other homes surrounding it. So without that, I'm just not comfortable going 24/7 at this point, but that's kind of where I'm at.
Excuse me. I'm really confused now, because I thought 24/7 was off the table. I thought we came to a conclusion that,
That's the original application that we've been postponing.
right, but I thought we landed on the additional day, and then we were going to come back to the table and see if that actually made an impact to continue on.
We were giving a couple pointers here that we would like changed, 7 or 8 items, and that was on a temporary basis.
But I thought we were coming back today to, are you saying to see if that was working?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
but I
I
thought
think-
24/7 was off the table
Just my
completely.
perspective is the business owners have been coming many times in front of us. Sounds like they've worked with us as much as possible to be flexible. From what I understand, I've heard thus far, the changes have made an impact on the amount of smoke going in neighbors' yards. So the only open question remains, is the 2 days plus 1 flex day enough, or do they want larger capacity, which is 24/7, which seems to be an issue? So if we can just clarify that and then move into a motion.
Yeah, I think that'd be something for the applicant if,
Applicant like to come to the microphone, please? Evening.
Morning or afternoon.
Afternoon.
How are you guys today?
Good.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, we definitely are trying to get 24/7 usage of the grill. We had 0 complaints when we were doing it 24/7. You guys pulled it back. We still haven't had 0 complaints. We've added the extra day. We have 0 complaints. I don't know why it would be off the table.
I don't think you were ever given a 24/7.
No, I put in for 24/7.
Oh, okay.
Fine for you.
We did,
Alright.
you guys did allow me 24/7. Y'all, that was the first agreement to come back after 60 days. We had 0 complaints. Then y'all pulled it back
We-
to the original.
No, we never said 24/7.
Yes, you did. Yes, you
Nick,
did.
can you clarify do you have the info on that?
let me just pull it up so I can.
Sure, yeah, okay, we'll come back to that.
It sounds like we're making some headway here. There's fewer residents here to complain, it looks like. I've got a couple of emails that I've received from residents, and they think you're trying to work with them here.
Yes.
I think putting the propane start on is probably the biggest help so far.
Yeah.
You're not burning papers.
Paper to
A lot of
start.
smoke cleared up from that.
Yeah. And I do believe that when all the complaining started, it was because I put the larger grill in the shop. With the smaller grill having to start with paper, that's what caused a lot of the issues. So by that not being used anymore, I don't believe we're gonna have any more problems. But, you know, I do know the holiday season coming up, you know, Thanksgiving, I'm gonna be cooking tons of turkey and trying to fluctuate between 2 days and 1 flex day. It's just not operable, you know. If somebody called me and said, hey, I need 50 turkeys, you know, I need to be able to cook 50 turkeys to sustain my business. That's all it's about. It's not I'm going to be cooking 24/7. I just need that flexibility. Again, that's all. You know, to say, okay, this day I need to cook. I know what everybody thinks, but we are not doing them type of numbers. And even if we were, I would probably go off site and do it because I see what type of issue it's causing. I'm also looking at a second location, so I'll probably start doing the cooking there once I do solidify that. You know, I mean, I'm bending over backwards for everybody.
I
It's
see
just
that.
me.
We're
you know.
trying to work with you the best
I
we can here.
understand. I understand.
And our problem is if we grant you 24/7 use of it, we're going to have a hard time pulling that back if we get a lot of complaints.
Now, if we do another 60 days or 30 days or something, let's see how it goes. You know, that's all. Give me the chance, you know. It's not about what happened in the past. We're talking about the future moving forward. And that's
Right.
what Clausen trying to do, move forward. That's what I'm trying to do with my business, move forward.
Well, but you still have trouble complying with the items that we've asked, like this, you know, the sign, you got it there, but you had to come back and you didn't have it. Same with the small grill. It seems like there's still trouble with actually the things that we're asking for.
Okay. So this month, I've been dealing with a lot of stuff. I just got back from Chicago. I had a death in the family. Business has been slow. I don't have the money to put up for the storage of the grill. I mean, it's a lot going on. I mean, do I need to be sitting there explaining that? No, it's just, you know, Nick just told you. He came by and he told you that I had some issues going on. You know, I've been losing employees. It's a lot going on right now. That's all. And then I'm trying to, like I said, start a new business in another location. So I got a whole lot going on. The grill is not being operated. It's on my property. I pay for it. So that I don't see that as an issue. But I'm going to move the grill.
Have you been cooking 7 days a week?
No, I
since-
have not. I probably cook twice a week because it's been slow.
Twice a week, yeah. But you're going to start getting busy now with the holidays coming up.
Yes,
yeah.
Thanksgiving, once I release my Thanksgiving menu, I will be super busy.
Further questions?
No,
And Nick, did you find what she was asking for?
It doesn't exactly say in the motion that was made during the July 23rd meeting, the time frame. So I imagine that it was just to maintain the days that were previously approved, without having to go back and watch that meeting.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, nothing further, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I would like to make a motion to approve the site plan amendment as presented with two additional amendments, with the grill to be put up front, as we have had for the temporary use, and the signage to be there permanently for the fire hazards.
I will support, but I do want to discuss one more thing.
Sure.
That you did mention to the audience that they might have an opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't know if you wanted to.
Before I pull a vote, yeah, we can.
Okay, I just didn't know if you remember
We
that.
have amendments, though, if we want to do that before, just so we can address anything that's open, because I think the propane start needs to be included, right? Is
Yes,
that-
propane start as well.
Helpful.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Number 3 amendments to the amendment requested.
And so you're going for the 24/7 hours, moving
Yes.
the grill and
Up
using-
front.
and using the propane.
Yes.
Are you proposing this to be a conditional with a circle back at a certain amount of time, or you just want to let them have free reign no matter what?
Sounds like you were proposing something, because I didn't.
I just wanted to make sure you had everything you wanted in your motion.
Oh, I had everything I wanted in my motion. If you want something else, let me know.
All right.
Anyone from the public wish to speak on this issue?
Stephanie Koval, 38 West Tacoma. I'm a little confused because I know that we've come to a few meetings to discuss this, and I didn't think that the 24/7 was on the table for this. I know that we were trying some conditional items. I did send an email to the Planning Commission. I think that the smoke issue has been improved. But again, I don't know what it's going to be like during his busy season. So my concern is what happens during that time if he gets 24/7 use and we can't scale back. I really thought that we were going to move forward with the 2 days of 24 hours and 1 conditional day and go from that point forward. So I'm disheartened, and I think that the lack of neighbors here is because that's the impression that everybody was under, and that's why there's no one else here but myself. So I would just hope that you take that into consideration before giving 24/7. Like I said, the smoke has been minimal, it has been reduced, but as the chef said, he hasn't been as busy either. So I don't know. And we all have issues in life, we all have things that happen, but there's still things that we have to adhere to during that time as well. So that's all I have now, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in public?
Hello, everyone. Again, I believe that we've lost sight of a core principle, and that is the longevity of House of Barbecue in Clawson. And for our restaurant to be able to sustain its doors and have the proper amount of food cooked, which we've been over multiple times, we have to have an ability to cook the food that we are selling at the restaurant for our customers to eat at any point in time that it's necessary. And we understand, we've been through, just like everybody else, has been through ample time and money spent and accommodations to come to some middle ground at this. And we have just seen that the smoke is minimal. And I do have footage that I can send of wood piles lighting up their smoke, and it goes into the residence area also. And that chimney really doesn't do very much. And there has to be another trust given in order for this to work out, because we are looking at a second location. And we've already spoken to the council or the township and the residents around, and they're excited to have a barbecue restaurant nearby. And it's disheartening that after all of this and showing up to every meeting and cutting back on cooking times, that the slow, I mean, there are really slow months with the restaurant. There are times that the restaurant can't pay its rent. Like, there's slow months. That happens with every restaurant or gets behind on bills. And during those busy months, especially with the holidays, we have to utilize those times. And it's not outside catering. I think that's a misconception. It's a lot of customers that live in Clawson will come to House of Barbecue and order their holiday meals. And we have to be able to cook those. So I would appreciate if we could all come to another trust-giving opportunity with the holidays coming up and wanting our restaurant to survive, that we can maintain House of Barbecue's longevity in Clawson. We would really appreciate that. And we can always have it conditional. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in public?
Okay. Hello.
Aye.
How many of you like barbecue? Wow.
Please address your comments just to us, not to the audience, please.
Yeah, sure. I just want to say that, I don't know, I've never heard of such. I live in West Bloomfield. I've lived there over 20 years. I've never heard of such, that smoke was such an issue. I'm not sure what the case is, but I will say this. I'm very proud of my nephew, who has worked diligently to do what he's doing. I'm his auntie, and he told me what was going on. I was so disappointed to hear of this. I wish there was a barbecue place near me, that I could smell the great smoke that I smell from his restaurant. I've never heard of such. I hope that he does not have to move from Clawson, because I know there's a large number of people that love his barbecue. I hope this issue can be resolved. I'm very, very proud of what he's doing. I hope that this is not an issue, because what I want to know is, what are the other restaurants doing? They serve food. There's a smell. There's smoke. What are they doing?
Thank you. Anyone else in public wishing to comment? Seeing none, I will then close public comment, and I would entertain a motion. We have
He
a motion.
made a motion.
We have the motion, and we have support. You support it?
No, well, I don't know if I was the first one. I think Fitzer supported it.
One of us did.
We can have a discussion now, right?
Yes.
Sure.
So I don't think, it's 30 days, that's not a trend for me. And also, just at the end of the day, the commission's here for the health and well-being of the community, and we're here to also help businesses, but at the end of the day, we serve the citizens. So I want to support, just blanket, let's go and give them 24/7. And also, they have a pattern they talk about trust. They don't have a pattern of compliance now, right? They cooked outside the hours, they kept additional equipment in, so I wouldn't support the motion giving them free reign.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off that and kind of address the comment, but reiterate that the reason why this seems to be an issue is that other restaurants are required to have ventilation. And I don't see myself feeling very comfortable at this point without proper ventilation. So I agree.
Anyone else have a comment? Sorry. So I understand everyone's perspective. They've done a lot to compromise, and I feel like we've mitigated a lot of issues. I agree that there is concerns, especially from the citizens, about 24/7 usage, but what we don't have, it sounds like at this point, is a test of 24/7 usage. So if you'd be open to it, amendment could be for 60, 90 days, a longer term trend to do that. So we have some data to look at, and it would help them get through the holidays and,
I would agree,
continue
and
this
after
business.
the holidays,
Yeah.
we'll set it up for a second meeting in January 3rd.
If that's a
January or
compromise,
something.
that's
So your motion would be to approve 24/7, but for a limited time, is what you're
Yes,
saying?
until the holidays pass and
Right,
maybe come
because I
back.
think the smoke problem should be a little bit lighter now this time of year. Whether it's going to get cooler, people have their windows closed, that. Sure, it'd be cooking more, but come spring, I see it starting up again.
Yep, and we talked about that at the last meeting, a seasonal pattern, right? When it's all closed up, the smoke is not as apparent in the summertime when everybody's out. So that's why I want to have some more time to look at this.
So what type of time limitation would you put on it?
Well, barbecue season, I suppose. Let's go after holidays.
So you said sometime in January, so the meeting dates in January, the 14th and 28th, just for your awareness. If you wanted to say maybe come back by January 28th, that way if
Yes.
something
January
before.
20th sounds like
January 28th,
date.
okay. You adding that to your motion?
Yes.
And
Motion still supported with that?
I
Yes.
got Redmond for the initial support.
Oh,
That-
okay.
That's who I heard, so that's why.
Unless you want it, Fitzer.
I don't care.
Okay.
Okay. So then he amended his motion. Are you still in favor of seconding that?
Oh, yes.
I'm not sure who got the second on that.
Can we restate
he
it for
just said-
clarity?
And just to stir the pot some more, what happens if we do have issues, right? Because I am concerned about the citizens that is around the neighboring restaurant. So let's say we give them 24/7 and we start getting complaints.
Well, it
Then
does
we're
say
back
by
in-
January 28th in the motion. So if something comes up sooner, it can come back. That way it's not a set date. That way if something happens next month, that way it can come back again without having to have a defined date on the schedule. So by January 28th, they'll come back to the planning commission.
So if there's noncompliance in removing grills, having barriers, signs, anything that we've stipulated, the propane, that can trigger them to come back?
Yes, and I imagine the applicant would be okay with that as well. I don't know if he wants to attest to either way, but I think that would be fine.
Well, are we adding more amendments now?
Well, I just was wondering what the procedure would be. Do I need to amend that motion, or?
Well, I think by stating by January 28th, it gives enough flexibility to come back before then if an issue arises with
I
the,
never said by, I said on January 20th.
Okay.
They will come on January 28th, same as they did today.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, further discussion? We have a motion, I have second, may I have roll call, please?
Mr. Carpenter, did you want it restated?
Yeah, if you can please restate the entire motion, please.
So the site plan amendment be approved contingent on the smoker being removed. Joe, did you take notes on that?
Smoker be up front.
Smoker be up front as presented.
Propane start and the signs.
Propane start the signs, yes. And then coming back on January 28th.
Correct.
For conditional review.
You get that?
We're ready for roll call, let's put a vote on it.
Was that-
January 28th.
We're all good? We're ready to vote?
Yeah.
Okay.
On. And that is with 24-hour usage, just,
Right,
okay.
okay.
Ms. Redmond?
No.
Mr. Solomon?
Yes.
Mr. Tinlin?
No.
Mr. Carpenter?
No.
Mr. Fitzer?
Yes.
Mr. Cusero?
Yes.
Mr. Nushai?
Yes.
All right, that motion passes 4-3.
Congratulations. See you in January. Hope you stay in Clausen. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 9 is special land use and site plan applications for 1400 Normandy, which is a church which is changing over to daycare.
Yes. So 1400 Normandy is not too far from the intersection of Normandy and Crooks, a little east of that, and it's north of some of the athletic facilities for Royal Oak High School. So the proposal here is to use the existing church building for a daycare. So a little bit about the site. The site is 1.87 acres. It's at the southern terminus of Chocolate Avenue. Chocolate ends at the north property line of this site. There is not access to Chocolate. It's blocked off with some bollards and fencing. It's zoned R2 single family. The church has been vacant for a while, a couple of years, Nick? Okay, a year or so. We have talked to the staff of Royal Oak. The staff has stated that they consider the use and project to be in Clausen, and they're not going to be issuing their own approval for this. Their approval lies with Clausen in their view. However, they did note that a freestanding sign would be located entirely in Royal Oak, so they would have a role in reviewing and approving that. That's, of course, not part of tonight's agenda anyway, but nevertheless, they will be working with Royal Oak on their sign. So I just wanted to clarify that because it is kind of unusual to have one of these situations where a site is partially in one jurisdiction and partially in another.
Why is that? Why is it the sign is not on site? It's not at the building
Well,
site?
it's on the property, but the city limit cuts through their property. There are a whole lot of properties along Normandy where the city limit cuts through them or otherwise makes them oddly shaped. I don't know why the city limit was drawn like that.
It's a strange area, yeah.
But
the city-
nevertheless,
City of
that's the
Royal Oak has no
situation.
problem with it, though.
Yeah, the city of Royal Oak basically said, as far as we're concerned, the use and site plan is Clausen's concern. The sign would be in Royal Oak, though, so come to them for that.
Joe, would that have to be part of the motion? No? Okay.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's really in Royal Oak's hands. Looking at surrounding sites, so the site and the surrounding sites to the north and east are zoned R2. And of course, they're single-family homes. And then property to the west is zoned R1 multifamily. And then across Normandy and Royal Oak, we have a residential zoning, but there's high school athletic facilities there. The site is accessed solely from Normandy. There's a boulevarded entrance, so one in, one out. They're proposing to convert the former church into a daycare. Per section 3.1B3 of our ordinance, childcare centers, accessory to schools or places of worship, or proposed for a vacant place of worship or school sites are permitted as a special land use in the R2 district. The applicant is currently based in the Hunter Community Center. So they're not proposing to modify the exterior of the building. They are going to be using an existing fenced area as the outdoor play area and then create a new drop-off area behind the building on existing asphalt. So they are restriping the existing asphalt, but not otherwise changing the surfacing on the site. The existing building does meet the dimensional requirements of the R2 district. Possible exception of height, but of course it's not proposed to change. Daycare centers require parking at a rate of 1 for each 10 persons cared for at any one time, plus 1 per each employee in the largest working shift, and then stacking spaces for 5 vehicles with each space measuring 10 feet by 20 feet. So the site plan reports that the maximum number of children cared for at any one time is 135, with 20 adults on the largest shift. So that would require 34 parking spaces. There are 84 on site. The existing parking lot is going to be restriped. That 84 is after the restriping. And then they have the additional 5 required stacking spaces shown on the plan. Most of the children are young enough here that most parents will probably park and bring their children in, if the daycare I took my kid to was any indication. But they do have the stacking spaces that are required. So when we look at screening, the site doesn't have the greenbelt buffer or screen wall to the neighboring houses along Chocolate that would be required if this were a new site plan. There's a fence present along the east property line. That is an existing nonconformity of the property.
Joe, are those required for school properties, or is this not considered school? Because it's a preschool.
It's not a school real in the sense that the zoning ordinance thinks of a school. It wouldn't be required for a school. Again, they're not touching the site physically. Usually when we're looking at the reoccupancy of a building with no modifications to the site. We're more focused on the use. The nonconformity extends to the landscaping as well, because they wouldn't have the right number of parking lot trees on the site for the number of parking spaces that are present there. But again, that's an existing nonconformity of the site. They're not
So,
proposing to
sorry,
change.
but they don't, like, I thought the school thing was like a state law that, you know, we can't really zone
Well,
schools, right?
public schools, yeah, their
Yeah, so
zoning
that's
doesn't apply to them.
different for private
Yeah,
or
they're
day-
exempt
okay.
from,
Okay.
public schools are exempt from zoning.
Gotcha, so, all right, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes, you're correct about that. Again, we have access from Normandy. They're not proposing to change the lighting. And then we have some special land use approval criteria that I've included in the letter. There's a lot of text there, so I won't read through it all. But there are standards A through J. Police, fire, and DPW are all okay with the plan. In our recommendation paragraph, we noted that when an existing site is not conforming, we do generally look for opportunities to decrease nonconformity to the extent possible when major physical improvements occur. In this case, the site's not proposed to be substantially modified. Exterior changes are limited to striping of existing pavement. At this point, the major physical changes that would achieve full conformity don't need to be required. But of course, you're free to discuss that with the applicant and amongst yourselves. Do you have any questions for me before we let the applicant speak?
Do we know when this church was started and when the last time it had an approved site plan on the building?
I don't know.
It's been there quite a long time.
It's been there for a very long time, yeah.
So we're going to give them a site plan approval on something that, you said the fire, DPW, police, and fire have all signed off on this. Have they inspected the building at all? Is it safe for public use?
They're commenting on the site plan. I know fire would probably do an inspection,
They'll
but,
have to do a certificate of occupancy inspection still.
They'll have to do it
Yeah.
at that point, yeah, okay.
yeah. So they're signing off on the site plan at this point.
Right.
They don't have any problems with the way it circulates and that kind of thing is what they're looking at. There's enough water going to the building, et cetera.
Good.
And there's enough, like, the drainage doesn't seem to be a problem there. I see that it's blacktop, like, is that needing, they look at those aspects of the site too for drainage and,
Well, I mean, that would be more of an engineering thing. Engineering waived review on this one because they weren't modifying the site at all.
okay. And do you know how many trees are currently, because when I pull it up on Google Maps, it looks like they do have, like,
There's a few. I don't recall offhand how many there were, but there are a few.
or like how much green space because they have enough room for outdoor play, right? I mean, I assume,
Yeah, there's this state standard that they have to meet. And,
Oh, okay, okay.
It's on the site plan that they're meeting it.
okay. I mean, it looks like a nice building. It looks to be in good condition.
Any further questions for Joe? And is the applicant here tonight? Would you like to address us? Have any questions for the applicant?
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Maria Van Dyke. I open Spanish for Toddlers, which is a Spanish immersion Montessori daycare and preschool. We teach the kids Spanish. Most of our clients live in the area, but we do also get some kids that drive from Detroit, from different cities to come to our school because of the language. And I started as a home daycare with my daughter, who's sitting there, and my son, who is now 25. And it started growing. So at some point in 2002, I believe, I moved to the Hunter Community Center, and I have been ever since. I have 4 classrooms there, and I love the building. I love the interaction with the seniors, and we try to do events with them, like trick or treating. Right now, they're doing Spanish classes. My teachers are doing Spanish classes for the seniors, and I don't want to leave the place. However, we have a long wait list, like 40 babies, because that classroom is very small. Like we can only have 12 babies, and we have like 40 more waiting to get a space. And the Hunter Community Center cannot rent us any more classrooms because then we'll be taking over the building. So you probably are aware that the Hunter Community Center doesn't know how long they're going to stay open, if they're going to redo it, if they're going to tear it down. I wish I could just stay there. I actually was thinking about retiring, but I don't want to leave my families so stranded. You know, we have 120 families who bring their kids to us. So I'm trying to be proactive. And for a long time, I have been looking for some building that I could use, and always there were issues with the parking, with the playground, with all those requirements from the licensing, which I understand. So when I saw this church, you know, I was like, yes, it's close enough. The price was very high, so it's been going down, and then I finally was able to make an offer. So my idea is to stay in the Hunter Community Center, but be able to open the infant room for the kids who are on the wait list for now. And then at least I have a place that if Hunter Community Center has to close their doors to rebuild or do whatever they need to do, at least I'm not going to be out on the streets with my 120 families. So.
Questions for the applicant?
No, I've always heard great things, though, about your daycare, your
Thank you.
preschool. So
Thank you.
I know you're very valued here. So.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
As I said before, I'll open it for public if anyone in the public wants to opine.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Erlin. I live at 668 Bowers Street. My wife and I have had kids at Spanish for Toddlers since 2022 now. Time flies. It's a very short walk. We love having them in the community. I know if it weren't for all the other parents being worn down after bedtime, and thanks to my wife for helping out with bedtime tonight so I can be here, they would be here telling you the same thing. They are such an asset to the community. We've heard from families who moved to Clawson because of this program. This is bringing in people to support the businesses after school. My wife is part of a mom's group who goes out, once a month to businesses after. I could go on for the next 10 minutes. I know it's already getting late. You guys rock. Couldn't be more grateful to have the girls there, and really, really excited to see how the program can evolve over the next few years. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Good endorsement. Anyone else in public? Seeing none, I will then close public, and I will entertain a motion.
So we do need 2 separate motions, one for the special land use and one for the site plan. Yes.
Okay.
That wasn't the right one.
We do them one at a time or at the same time? Is there a
Does that have to be one at a time?
I will make a motion to approve the special land use on 1400 Normandy as presented.
Support.
Motion and support. Any additions, changes?
I would say I live right next to Hunter, so just for the council that's voting today, I've only heard good things, and I can attest that I'm probably number 40 on the list. Is that our child? And we had met with the team there, and same thing. I mean, we hear from a lot that they're looking for extra space. It seems like a natural fit in an old church. I know that they did that just on the other side of Main Street with, I think it's Green Daycare now, so hopefully it seems like a good fit for everybody.
And another endorsement. Roll call, please. And this is only on the special land use part.
And was that Mr. Tinlin who had that second, or Nushai? Okay, sorry. Mr. Solomon?
Yes.
Mr. Tinlin?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzer?
Yes.
Mr. Kucera?
Yes.
Mr. Nushai?
Yes.
Ms. Redmond?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, motion passes. Now we need another.
Okay, I will make a motion to approve the site plan at 1400 Normandy as presented.
Support.
Anything added to it? Nothing?
Another endorsement, anybody?
We're all good? Roll call, please.
I could give another endorsement, but I
Okay.
think it all goes without being said. She's been an amazing part of the community and to work with, and, you know, I know they have nothing but good things to say about the program down at Hunter. Mr. Tinlin?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzer?
Yes.
Mr. Cusera?
Yes.
Mr. Nushai?
Yes.
Ms. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Solomon?
Yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Welcome to staying in Clawson. Thank you. We'll move on to agenda item number 10, which is the planner's report.
I didn't have anything additional tonight. We'll have a fair amount to talk about next week, our next meeting.
Okay, how about staff report and training opportunities?
All right, so by now it's definitely on everyone's calendar that tomorrow at 10 o'clock is the short-term rental workshop that I imagine everyone's going to be working for. So I'll be happy to send that link to the board once that meeting's live online, so you can see what the county's saying, what other communities have tried to do to govern short-term rentals in their own community. Again, I just want to continue to preface the development and Clawson webpage on our website. All the site plans are starting to go in there, and the web page is starting to fill up, and I think it looks great. Still trying to brainstorm some ideas with our communications team on how to lay it out a little bit more better. But in the meantime, we're just excited to finally get everything online, so you don't have to go looking through the minutes on demand to try and find a site plan you're looking for. So next meeting on the agenda, we tentatively have scheduled the short-term rental public hearing for that ordinance. The text amendment as applied for by Robertson Brothers related to single-family detached homes in the PUD ordinance. And then a minor site plan for some facade modifications done at a building Rochester Road. We did have a temporary certificate of occupancy issued for the residential component of 516 North Main Street, so the Roth project, which is right across the street here. So they completed all the components for the residential units. The site, outside of a couple cosmetic things, was completed, and so they have a temporary certificate of occupancy for the residential units, and they're still working on the build out of the commercial space.
So does that mean residents are able to start leasing there then?
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So the commercial space is still under construction. I think they're still trying to figure out the layout of what they want to do on the inside. And once that's done, we'll review the entire occupancy and hopefully get that issued.
That's exciting.
Yeah, very. And then we had a pre-con this morning actually for the other 14-mile project as well. So have some conditional approvals to go on that. I think they're going to start trying to do some construction of the project before it gets too cold, and then gear up in the spring to wrap that project up.
On the 14-mile multifamily?
Yeah, 440 West
Yeah,
14
yeah.
Mile.
I haven't seen much happen in there lately.
They've had to go back for a couple engineering revisions. There's been some questions our engineers have had, so that's been getting worked out. And I wish I could say that process goes faster, but that's
Yeah.
typically what holds up from site plan to shovel in the ground. I don't have anything major to update you on outside of those items, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I have a question about when Robertson Brothers comes, so they're looking to amend it by adding just the word, or is their proposal available anywhere, like their application? I'm assuming that'll be put in with the.
The application is on the Developments in Clawson webpage right now, and it'll stay up there until something's been done on that since it's technically open right now.
The application for the change of language, the change of
Oh,
ordinance?
I'm sorry, that's not on there yet, but that
Oh.
will be added to there, probably this week. So we do have another drop down for zoning ordinance amendments, and this is kind of what that's considered.
Okay.
So that'll be under there for their text amendment. And then, yes, I don't know the language exactly how it's tweaked in there, but they're essentially just requesting to add single-family detached along with attached. Because right now it's only single-family attached homes.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, but again, that'll be online this week.
This week. And you said you're gonna send us a link for that short-term rental one, or you're gonna send us a link that after
I'll
it's
send
done,
the
we
link
can-
to the video because they add it to
Okay.
the webpage after, and they said it usually takes a day or two to get it online for their team. So I can also include the link to the text amendment in that email, but it'll probably go out this week.
Okay, thanks.
I just had a question, or was curious, I think we had some success when we met for the workshop for the master plan, and just given that, I know we have a goal, I believe, of trying to get something wrapped up by the end of the year, and with holidays that'll quickly approach, do we have any intentions or plans, or can we look at other dates to do something similar? Assuming that it sounds like we have a busy kind of calendar coming forward with site plans and other things, I would love to understand like what our kind of plan is, I guess, for the rest of the master plan.
Yeah, the goal is to deliver the updated draft to you the first week of November. So you'll receive it then, and then we'll figure out kind of what the meeting, if we have a light agenda at the second meeting in November, we'll probably just do it then.
Okay. So you anticipate we could get through, I mean, in terms of next steps, I didn't know if we had any open houses
So-
or anything else kind of outstanding that we needed to hit on our little nat chart, right?
Yeah, so what we'll probably do is, like Joe said, they're still working on the draft that we talked about at the workshop a few weeks ago. So that should be ready first week in November. So we could just have an agenda item on that first meeting in November, so November 12th, to discuss any changes there and maybe not do a deep dive and see if everyone's comfortable with it, or if another workshop is necessary, and then can chat about it then.
Okay.
Yeah, and we can talk about the remaining schedule.
Yeah, maybe if you could put something in our next packet, just
Yeah.
in one page.
Just kind of like an
on what's left.
organizational
Yeah.
conversation.
Okay.
Sure.
That'd be
We can do
helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else for Nick?
We don't take minutes for the workshop, right? Because
It
we
would
didn't
just
have
be
minutes.
I'll have minutes for the next meeting. I just didn't have time to get it to. I was out of town over the weekend, and encroaching last week, so I didn't have time to get it together. And again, it's basically just saying who's there and what was talked about,
Okay.
because there's no motion or action items taken.
Right, I wasn't sure if we just don't do it, but yeah, we
Well-
had two's enough for one agenda, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no legal update because we have no attorney tonight. And before we adjourn, does anybody else have any questions or something? I have a question for Mr. Tangeri.
Yeah.
I've got it from a couple of Clausen residents that on the ballot's going to be this marijuana dispensary thing in Clausen. Can you tell us where they would be allowed to put those, what zones they would be allowed to put those in, if it does pass?
I'm not entirely familiar with the language of the ballot initiative. I could take a look at it. But if they were to become a permitted use in Clausen, I believe that one of the things we would have to do is figure out where
Yeah.
it would be appropriate. Because I don't think that the language of the initiative is specific about a geographic location within the city.
They have to be a certain distance from schools.
Yes, there are buffer requirements in the state statute, and we've got the maps that have been done on those previously that we can pull out if it does pass. And then we would be figuring out, okay, what are the actual, most appropriate districts and
Okay, so
things
it's
like
nothing to
that.
worry about until it passes.
Yeah, is there some type of clause that they have to give us a certain amount of time to put a zoning ordinance in place for something like that? Or, because last time it seemed like we were trying to put one in place so we could push go, and this time there's nothing.
Yeah, I'm not real sure, to be honest.
Okay.
I think with this specific proposal, there's a few legality items still up in the air right now. That I just don't frankly have the answer on or want to discuss because it's very unclear what what that outcome may look like. But, when it comes to the zone, I believe Joe is correct that we would have the opportunity we as a community, to figure out where they would be allowed to operate out of.
So we're protected still from them coming in and just going anywhere, because we've been told many times in the past that if we don't have one, then they can go anywhere. But I get law has changed a lot in 4 years too, so I haven't revisited how many things have changed in the law since then. I just want to make sure we're like not opening it up to go, anywhere without having something in place.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like almost a question a little above my pay grade when it comes to the legal
maybe
aspect
you could
of
get
it.
back to us.
Yeah,
with the
we'll follow up, and I guess either way, it's again something we can just have a brief follow-up next meeting. And I know it's after the election, but we'll be able to chat about something then on, all right, it passed, here's what we have to do, or it didn't pass, here's what we would have to do if it comes again. Maybe we can do something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, just plan ahead on that one, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any?
Yeah, I actually have a question. And it's not necessarily a question for Nick, it's for fellow commission members. And when I was thinking of this, I wrote it thinking, wow, the compromise with the barbecue went really well. And I think part of what went really well, not necessarily tonight, but at the meeting where we had lots of public here, is our ability to ask questions. It seems as though that's become an issue as of lately, that we're not allowed to ask questions. I don't know what Robert's rules, which edition we're supposed to be following. It just says Robert's rules in our bylaw. So I did do some studying and looking, and, sometimes for fun, I watch other city planning commission meetings. Multiple cities around us do allow commissioners to ask questions of public at public comment. And, I'm not putting this out there as a motion necessarily yet, but just kind of trying to get a feeler out there for how you guys might feel about allowing that to continue. I think it's an important part of the process.
I try to follow Robert's Rules of Order, but I also try to keep this a relaxed thing here that we can chat amongst ourselves, and I think it's important to give the public responses once in a while if we can. I don't see myself getting into any legal matter where I'm going to get sued by saying something out of line that I'm not supposed to say, so.
Well, we can open up a discussion when the individual's on the podium by motion. That's what the council does if you watch on some of the meetings, right? So you can make a motion to have a dialogue with the person at the podium, but having a dialogue to the audience is usually frowned upon, right?
You mean to suspend the
Them to
rules?
speak to the audience.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be speaking to the audience, I don't believe, but where we had the last meeting where we were having the dialogue going back and forth between the audience and the person on the podium.
Yes, I know that I'm not trying to
Yeah,
I'm not trying to change that aspect of things. I'm talking specifically about our ability to address public at the public comment. Other cities have it actually written into their bylaws, and I just kind of want to get a feel, because we were discouraged from doing that.
Are you more or less saying like reciprocating dialogue back and forth on
Not-
a conversation?
Not just clarifying points, right? Like, if we have the House of, I just use that, if we have a clarifying question, like, are you telling me as the neighbor that you have smoke coming in your windows or you have smog? I think it's important for us to be able to do our job, to be able to ask, clarifying questions, to get clarity on those. And, especially when neighbors are feeling frustrated, even asking a question, or like Greg said, him being able to, respond in any kind of way allows people to, just feel heard.
Really, I don't have to give response, because mayor and council don't. You don't have to, but I think it's just a fair thing to do.
Yep.
As long as I just make sure I don't overstep the legalities of it, which I haven't so far. So, anybody else have any
No
complaints
neighbors have
about
sued
the
you
way
yet?
I'm running the show here? No.
I'll just add that we've talked about internally trying to schedule a workshop for all of our boards and commissions, just to have a general Robert's Rules of Order training session. So where everyone from council, PC, ZBA, DDA, I don't want to miss any of them, library board, everyone's invited to kind of get a refresher on what are the proper procedures for rules of order. So I think that'd be, appropriate conversation and time to bring that up as well. And, with the holidays coming up, I don't know when that's going to be scheduled, but it's something we know that we want to have done.
Well, I
soon.
guess I'm not trying to follow Robert's Rules of Order with this initiative, or whatever you want to call it, with this talking point, because there's like 24 editions, so it'd be helpful to know which one is it the newest edition? Because our bylaws literally say Robert's Rules of Order, so is it the most recent Robert's Rules that we're supposed to follow? Do you know?
I would
don't
probably
know.
defer to those ones, as those would be the first ones that come up, more than
Okay.
likely.
So I don't know that Robert's Rules actually acknowledges being able to respond to public comment or clarify questions to public comment. I
Oh,
did.
it does, it does.
Oh, not from where I saw it.
Personally, I don't see it being like a legal document. I see it being a
So it
suggestion how
says-
how to keep control over an audience.
Cities get sued all the time about Robert's Rules of Order, so.
And I was-
but
I'm sorry,
nonetheless-
can you speak? I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Robert Rules of Order speaks specifically about addressing the audience. So the
Can you
answer to your
give-
question is yes.
And it says that you are not to?
Correct.
Okay, so that again.
Especially when a motion is on the table. When there is a motion and support, we're only supposed to speak among ourselves.
I would agree with that, for sure.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
And Mr. Timlin and everybody that spoke about the rules, and our attorney, and your attorney as well, spoke about the meeting when you guys were addressing the audience and nobody was acknowledged to speak and back and forth.
I don't remember addressing
The
audience,
only
but
thing I caught was the one gentleman in the back, so somebody, I could hire a concrete company.
It takes only one time.
And you shut him down right away.
Yeah.
I just made eyeball, went like that, and he was done, you know.
Yeah, I think the
Well-
problem is when it gets free-for-all and you're having someone at the podium turn around and address
Yes.
the audience.
Yeah, it just-
But again, I
it just-
think a Robert's Rules of Order training would certainly be
I would
helpful for
agree.
everyone.
However, I do think that's different than what I'm not saying I want to interact with the audience. I'm not saying I want the public commenter to interact with the audience. I still would like them to address the chair, all those things. But sometimes when there's a public commenter at the microphone, it's very important for the planning commission to be able to ask them a clarifying question. As long as we're not in motion, I understand, because that could be seen as they persuade us on a motion or something. But I've got some different city languages that I'm happy to send to Joe. If you guys are open to the idea of it, maybe we can have Joe bring some language. I don't know if Joe works with certain cities. Troy even allows public comment, or you know what, maybe they just wait till public comment's over and then they make their comments. So, but I don't know if you guys are open to possibly looking at some type of language for that.
Are you talking about changing our bylaws?
Well, wherever we amend it at is fine with me. I don't know the proper place for that, so we've changed our
That's what you're
bylaws
asking
in the last year already once.
About the public discussion. That's what we changed it about.
Huh?
We changed the public discussion. That's what
Oh,
we changed.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, sure.
It's the one thing that we did change.
So wherever the proper place to be, that's fine.
I've read through the Roberts rules, and it gets too sticky. In order for you to say something, you'd have to address me first. Mr. Chair, may I? And then I give you the okay to talk. And to me, that's just too much distraction. I think as long as nobody's arguing with each other or over-talking each other, I think it works out fine.
Well, and I don't see us running planning commission meetings much differently than any other city.
Right.
So I'm not sure. But anyway, I don't want to change our whole system here. Just would like our ability to be able to ask a clarifying question to a commenter, public commenter, so that we're legally allowed to do that without, so.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn at this point then.
Are you guys cool if, do I have to ask Joe to write something? Do I have to motion for that?
You can't
Well,
ask Joe to
direct
write something. You
administration
make a
to-
motion of something if you want something done.
I'm sorry?
You can't ask Joe or anybody to do something. You can make a motion about.
Well, Joe's sometimes agreed to put language together without a motion, so I'm just
About
asking.
what? What are we talking about? You are not
What I
even
just
clear.
talked about for 10
You're not
minutes.
even clear yourself what you're trying to ask.
What, is there something I'm,
And can we get 8 hard copies of Robert's Rules of Order, so each of us?
No, I'm talking about
Rules
a
of order
public-
are even in our ordinance, actually. In our book of ordinance, yeah, in our court of ordinances.
the whole Robert's Rules of Order? I'm not
Oh,
even
the
talking about
reference.
Robert's
The
Rules of Order right now.
Reference
Okay.
to it, that the committee.
That all boards shall follow Robert's Rules of Order. It's an ordinance of ours, actually.
Oh, okay, so I'm not asking for a copy of Robert's Rules of Order. I didn't bring up Robert's Rules of Order. I'm talking about being able to ask a question of a public commenter and having something written that allows us. Plymouth has something. Any questions posed by the public shall be addressed to the chair. And then they say commissioners are free to question any speaker for the purpose of clarifying their statement. It's simple as that. I don't know why it's complicated to understand.
It is.
So, Joe?
Perhaps I should ask our city attorney to attend our next meeting and explain it to
Sure.
us.
No,
That's
that's a
fine.
reasonable request.
He'll help us out.
That sounds
Okay.
good to me.
Okay.
Something to continue discussion on.
Yeah.
Subsequent to discussion with the attorney, I understand what you're.
Thank you, Joe.
asking for, so.
Thank you.
Okay. Are we ready to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion support. Roll call, please.
Mr. Fitzer,
Yes.
Mr. Kucera,
Yes.
Mr. Nushai, Ms. Redmond,
Yes.
Mr. Solomon,
Yes.
Mr. Tinlin,
Yes.
and Mr. Carpenter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.